Hey guys, James here again. This is going to be what if Tanjiro was half demon. So, basically, in this what if, well, Tanjiro is going to be half demon, that's what the title says. I'm going to go over how he becomes half demon. Tanjiro's father, well, with the ability he possesses to, like, the dance of the fire god, that can be considered sun breathing, and, well, Kokushibo and Muzan had their eyes on Tanjiro's father. Until the dance of fire god technique was also something that had the possibility to be able to, well, be Breath of the Sun. So, what Kokushibo did, well, while the man wasn't, well, not while he wasn't looking, but while the man was kind of just tired like usual, Kokushibo basically poured blood into his mouth, his own blood, and turned him into, well, a demon. Tanjiro's father could not live with this, but in response to what he actually had did before, well, his last thing he wanted to do was with his new wife was, well, have a kid with her. They've been trying for a while, and they're going to try one last time before he has to go off to be a demon. Or this Kokushibo thinks he's going to do it. He's going to do is go off and be a demon after he does this one last thing with his wife. He hopes that this kid will come out as human. He doesn't know if it will happen because he can't tell he's a demon just yet. He thinks it's a slow process. He can't tell he's a demon. So he does the deed with his wife, and eventually, as after the deed is done, well, he leaves. And as he does with Kokushibo, the sun's about to come up. In response, well, what he does is basically shove Kokushibo out of the way of the sun. He doesn't know if Kokushibo's a bad guy, but Kokushibo seems pretty nice, so he's going to spare him. And Tanjiro's father basically just told Kokushibo just change his ways. So Kokushibo didn't seem like a bad guy. It was just he was jealous. Like, in a sense, a lot of jealousy in his body. But Kokushibo doesn't eventually just try to grab Tanjiro's father out of the sun, but he got burned. And he just sees Tanjiro's father just basically just combust into ash, and he's dead. So yeah. Tanjiro comes out, well, his eyes are obviously able to tell that he's demon, and, well, Tanjiro's mother already knew that her husband was going to become a demon. She could tell that his eyes were different. You can tell that Tanjiro's eyes are very similar. It's just his body doesn't show any demon traits. And one weird thing about him, the sun doesn't seem to bother him. Now, in response for Tanjiro actually being immune to the sun, he's actually going to have very, very weak resistance against nature and blades. His regeneration is very slow compared to most demons. Like, he gets, like, in response, like, in return, he gets like faster head regeneration and not faster, but no weakness to the sun. Just like those two things are a bit sped up. Only part of his body that regenerates fast is his head, or just puts his head back on, and then it just stitches back together all at once. As I'm curious about one thing is his blood demon art. Blood demon art is going to be very similar to one of Kokushibo's blood demon arts, which is flesh manipulation. And what it does basically is he can kind of mold his flesh. But the thing is, well, pretty sure Kokushibo's thing is like the flesh had to come off of his body, while Tanjiro just can literally just hold out his hand, then it can morph his flesh into anything he wants to, or can extend it, then it can morph into anything. Only difference is it's easier to mold it if it's not connected to his body. So yeah. Also, well, the villagers know Tanjiro's a demon, but the thing is, he doesn't show any thirst for humans. The only thing that's different is he eats raw meat. He has like a whole kind of a bit of a ghoul syndrome where he can't eat human food because it makes him throw it all back up unless it's raw. Like, he'll only eat raw meat. He'll only eat raw meat, and he's also very tired. Due to him having so much endurance and stamina, he can do all those regular jobs. It's just he does them a lot faster because he doesn't run out of energy at all, basically. And also, this does make Tanjiro a little bit related to Kokushibo, because a bit of Kokushibo's DNA was Tanjiro's father. Tanjiro's father passed that DNA onto his wife. Not thinking he was a demon just yet. That DNA went on Tanjiro, so that's why he has Kokushibo's blood demon art. Also, the Kamados. Well, the one Kamado that became a demon. Actually, no, there's two of them. I'm not gonna. I'll spoil you guys here for a second. The second one's Tanjiro. He did become a demon in canon, but he eventually went back to normal. So yeah. He was a demon, but not for long. But yeah, so Tanjiro, he would have two blood demon arts. One of them is a bit different than Nezuko's, but pretty similar. Is that he can, like, his flesh? There's like two variants of it. His flesh can create explosions, and he actually can create his own like breathing style, being like explosive breathing, where anything his flesh touches can explode, or he can summon explosions from his flesh, and then his flesh can make that explode as well. Like, say, for example, you can control his flesh and shoot like a bullet of flesh at you. It can latch onto you, and then, boom, it blows up. So you can do that kind of stuff. But eventually, Tanjiro would be in the village, just running around, everyone's saying hi to Tanjiro. And, well, Tanjiro comes back to see his family slaughtered, and Nezuko, well, he can tell that she's a demon. And Tanjiro kind of learned, like, a little something that's where, like, it kind of adds on to his flesh control ability, but it's usually just for like helping his family or helping like the baby sleep. But he does basically just kind of send some of his flesh into like through like their ears, and then just like kind of just messes with their head a bit to make them pass out. He did that bit, but only took like a split second to do so, so it wasn't harmful in any way at all. Unless he wasn't careful, which he always is. He's a very careful person. Because, well, he has the unhuman demon strength, so he has to be very careful and control at all times. So Tanjiro does eventually end up like seeing Nezuko as a demon. So in response, I see what he does is more or less is able to mess with her brain and body, and well, he did a little bit of something else. He doesn't know that if he turned her from demon to human, she may die because of the process being too different, and he doesn't know how to do it properly. In response, well, yes, he's able to control his flesh and stab a needle into her, and to actually drain some of Muzan's blood out of her body. This will make Tanjiro a lot stronger and get a bit of Muzan's memories. Well, his most recent ones being of creation of all the pillars, not the pillars, I mean, all the creation of all of the current upper moons and lower moons, beside Kokushibo. All I know is that Kokushibo had made his dad a demon, and then his dad did it with his mom. So yeah, and Tanjiro does know about all the upper moons and all their abilities, so he knows about all of them. Tanjiro actually could find a way to counter all these upper moons. Now, in response, what Tanjiro would do is more or less like, well, he took out a lot of Muzan's blood out of Nezuko. He drained a lot of his blood into her, and making her a little bit human as well, which would give her, well, sun resistance. That's what she has. The only difference is now Tanjiro has sped up regeneration, sun resistance, and can grow his head a bit faster. That's what we got from taking Muzan's blood, making Tanjiro a very overpowered demon. And currently with Muzan's blood, he's on the level of an upper moon. Actually, probably not that high just yet, because he doesn't know how to fight. If he learned how to fight, he'd be upper moon, but with his very low abilities in fighting, he may be around like a lower moon level, but pretty high up for a lower moon. I'd put up on like lower moon 2, possibly. So a bit stronger than Rui, actually. So, yeah. Then he brings Nezuko around, and Gyu does find them, and, well, he can't really tell that Tanjiro's a demon, but can tell Nezuko's a demon. Tanjiro blocks the attack, and Gyu asks why Tanjiro's defending a demon. And Tanjiro actually asks Gyu to sit down and talk to them for a second. Gyu says, what about the demon? And Tanjiro says, don't worry, she's under my control, she won't attack anyone, I promise you that. Like, Tanjiro actually just, like grabs Gyu's hand, like, it kind of, like, pinches it a bit for blood come out, and Nezuko doesn't even look at it. She sits down and just takes a nap. And this kind of shocks Gyu. He's like, what the hell was that thing? Like, a demon would attack me. Is that not a demon? Am I confused or something? Like, no, she's 100% a demon, so am I. But just listen for a second. Tanjiro goes over how basically Muzan attacked the family and killed them all, and then turned Nezuko into a demon. But in response, Tanjiro took all the blood out of Nezuko, not all of it, a lot of Muzan's blood out of Nezuko and put it into himself. Tanjiro was already half demon because his dad was a demon, and then him and his mother did the deed. But his dad would forcefully turn into a demon because he had an ancient breathing art. And Tanjiro actually doesn't know how to do Dance of the Fire God. It's just he doesn't have a sword to do it with. So yeah, he knows how to. He wouldn't know how to do it because his dad would be dead. I also assume he actually may know how to do it because of Muzan's memory that lasted like. Tanjiro's memories go back hundreds of years. Like at least at the highest to the creation of. Let me check something real quick. So Tanjiro's memories go all the way back. At least the memories out from Muzan go all the way back to the creation of Hatengu, who's the second oldest upper moon, I believe. Hatengu is like the fourth strongest, but second oldest. So he has the memories of the creation of Hatengu, Akaza, Doma, Gyoko, Hatengu, fucking Kagaku isn't a demon yet. Who else would it be? Basically just all the upper moon and all the lower moon. So, yeah. Enmu isn't there yet, so it doesn't really matter. Also, there's one thing about the Infinity Castle arc that didn't make sense. There's tons of demons that were supposedly on the level of lower moons. Why were there no more lower moons on the mission for the Mugen train? Why? Enmu was on there. Do you really think it took one lower moon to stop running Goku? Like, Goku's one of the stronger Hashira. It should take more than like. That arc didn't make sense. Not that arc, it's just the demons didn't make sense. Like, I think just enough lower moons could have stopped Rengoku or permanently disabled him, maybe even killed him. So yeah, but off that topic now. But when Gyu hears all this, he's like, oh, so due to you being part human, you have no lust for human blood. Actually, you have more lust for raw animals and will sleep. Tanjiro, what Yon's saying yes, saying that Nezuko kind of got the sleeping thing from him, and she has no lust for human blood either, raw animals, and sleep. That's all they really need to survive. Like occasional blood, but like a single drop, like you know, like carry your finger on a knife or something, or like peeling something, you can scrape your finger. Like that amount of blood is able to have Tanjiro and Nezuko fed for months. So, yeah, and she kind of grabbed your finger and looked at it, saying, "Alright then, now I'm fed for months. See, pretty that easy." Yu's like creepy, but I guess it's cool. I'm gonna send you somewhere because you can be a very valuable asset. Since Tanjiro would go with Orokodaki, and they go. Also, Tanjiro, due to him being a demon, is a bit bigger than canon, like around as big as I'd say possibly Genya, like post exam Genya, so like 6 feet tall, maybe even bigger. So yeah, because kind of just carries and Nezuko, like she's on his back, but he has her under his I guess kimono. I don't think it's a kimono, but I forget the name of it. Let me check. His Haori or Hari, but I'm gonna say Haori. Nezuko's kind of just under there, left under Tanjiro's back. But until they get to the tower, and the demon there sees Tanjiro, and can tell that he's really strong, asking Tanjiro if he's a lower moon. So that's what Tanjiro does, basically just shove his fist right through the guy's chest, and means absorbing every bit of demonic energy in the guy's body. Not demonic energy, just kind of absorbing all of his flesh, having Tanjiro completely absorb him. This guy's body actually gave Tanjiro a bit of knowledge on how the basics of some certain martial arts. I'd say the basics of possibly karate. So they kind of gave Tanjiro a bit more power, but yeah, like I said before, this is one of the abilities of Kokushibo, flesh control, and that can kind of been contorted into flesh absorption. So yeah, Tanjiro look at the bodies of people in there, began praying, and Orokodaki watched Tanjiro absorb a demon, and then sees Tanjiro praying alongside Nezuko. Orokodaki had asked Tanjiro if he's Tanjiro Kamado. And Tanjiro said he is. This is his little sister Nezuko. Tanjiro kind of scraped a bit of blood off the ground and put his finger up to Nezuko, and she's licked it, and then they're both fed for months now. They don't need sleep, they don't need to eat, they're good for months. And Orokodaki asked why Tanjiro did that if they didn't eat meat. Tanjiro says, no, just this amount of blood can keep us fed for months on end. We don't need to sleep, we don't need to eat, we don't need to do much. So he's like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool, I guess. With this, Tanjiro and Nezuko are brought into the mountains, and now Tanjiro has to learn how to use a sword. Now Tanjiro just doesn't have to cut the boulder because he can punch it in half with no effort. Then he has to actually be able to cut the boulder while holding back. But Tanjiro actually has a lot of knowledge from fighting from that demon, and actually knows how to do a few techniques and attacks just from memories of Muzan, and with possibility of a bit of Kokushibo's DNA, a bit of Muzan's DNA, and from his father's DNA. Those DNAs combined, Tanjiro actually has a bit of the ability to be a prodigy, even greater than canon. It takes Tanjiro only 3 months to hold back fully and cut the boulder into pieces with no effort. Also, Tanjiro can sense the lingering spirits of Sabito and Makomo, and he has been talking to them a bit. And Orokodaki questions, and Tanjiro says, "Oh yeah, this one kid's wearing a fox mask with a slash, and the other girl's kind of wearing one." It's like, oh, that's kind of weird because I have students with that. They're dead. So I'm like, oh, so am I seeing ghosts currently? Roki's like, yeah, probably. That's kind of weird, but just tell him I say hi. I'm like, alright then, cool. He says hi. And Nezuko actually began training with martial arts with Orokodaki because she doesn't need to be controlled at all. She has her own free will and everything. If she wanted to leave, she would. It's just she wants to stay near Tanjiro. So yeah, she can leave and live a normal life if she pleases. She can even speak. So yeah. But we just go on to see Tanjiro, who goes on. And Orokodaki's like, alright, well, you learned every single technique of water breathing, and you have your own breathing, which is explosive breathing. And plus, your weapon's basically invulnerable, so you don't need a Nichiren blade. And Tanjiro's like, yeah, I guess so. So, yeah. Tanjiro's blade is about as tough as a Nichiren blade. But Tanjiro also does say he can send in his sword and have it infuse it with the chemicals, the particles for Nichiren blade. And they do just that. the swordsmith isn't really too keen on making a demon a sword, but when he hears that Tanjiro's a good guy, he's like, oh, cool. Then I'll gladly make a sword. So yeah, so Tanjiro gets his sword. It's basically indestructible at this point, and about as good as a Nichiren blade. Now with this, we see Tanjiro go on to do the entrance exam. So yeah, Tanjiro arrives there. There's all the rules of it, and we see Genya and Zenitsu actually kind of question why Tanjiro's there. They yell at Tanjiro's a demon, but Tanjiro explains, nope. He's a good demon. He's trained by a former Hashira to defeat demons. Plus, he has actually a leg up on Muzan, which Muzan doesn't know about. So yeah, there's that thing. Anyway, all right, we'll give you a chance. Tanjiro does basic suggestion to the forest immediately as they see he's immune to Hysteria. And I'm like, oh, even if we poison him, he won't die. Because he's ran through Hysteria with no problem, and he's alive in the sun. So, yeah. There wasn't much sun up for long, but there's still sun. Tanjiro went through the forest tossing down demons with no effort. Tanjiro currently is on level of, I'd say, probably I'd say Kaigaku. Demon Kaigaku. He's like that level. He's not too strong, he's not too strong, but he's not weak at all. He's enough to be considered an upper moon if he were to be an evil demon. But eventually he gets the ugly, multiple armed demon, and the guy says, oh yeah, I've killed tons of Orokudaki's kids. What Tanjiro does is kind of nails kind of sharpen, and then he kind of stabs him into the demon's body. They're like, oh, what do you do, you brat? And Tanjiro absorbs his whole body completely absorbs it. It kind of gave Tanjiro the ability to kind of grow different, multiple limbs. Tanjiro kind of took his ability. Tanjiro's going to be able to develop a lot of different abilities of blood demon arts if he chooses to absorb a demon. Doesn't do it too much because he doesn't know if he does absorb certain things, he can get a personality or attitude of certain creatures. But no one is strong enough to actually give him that kind of thing. So yeah, he's pretty strong compared to everyone. Which is he runs through the forest even more, and actually saves Zenitsu from, a demon. And actually, kills it. And Tanjiro actually tells Zenitsu he'll help him to the forest to make sure he gets out alive. And Zenitsu doesn't have to worry about fighting. And this makes Zenitsu smile. They're saying thank you, and Tanjiro and him run through the forest. They even said Genya. Kana seems to be doing fine, until the giant demon's out to jump on her. Tanjiro grabs it and tears its head off, then absorbs it, and then the demon's body dies. It's kind of what I established the Kamabako trio a bit earlier. There's no Inosuke or Nezuko there just yet. Genya actually asks Tanjiro if he's a demon, why is he just nice? And Tanjiro says, because his mother is human, his dad's half demon. His dad forcibly turned into a demon, which allowed him to keep a good side to him. And Tanjiro, she says that, one of the upper moons turned his dad into a demon, which allowed his dad to be intensely strong as a demon. It was just his dad had no ill will. So, yeah. And on Tanjiro, she says that, Muzan also turned his sister into a demon, but he was able to extract most of Muzan's DNA from, his sister, which gives Tanjiro the memories of Muzan. And when they're shocked by this, Tanjiro says he knows the weaknesses and the strength of most upper moons and lower moons. He's only missing one upper moon, being Kokushibo. So that's the only demon he has no reading on at all. All he knows is that Kokushibo was strong and turned his head into a demon. Also, there's one thing. Kokushibo appeared to be an ex-demon slayer who can use breathing styles too. That's pretty dangerous, so yeah. Tanjiro also offered Genya to be an ally. Genya's like, I don't need your help. I was like, well, with my strength, I'm probably going to be considered in a Hashira pretty soon. Kind of says that Tanjiro's probably stronger than most Hashira currently. Actually, no, that's overestimation. Not stronger than, but probably on the level of some Hashira. Saying that, her sister may be an exact match for Tanjiro, and her sister is a Hashira. I was like, oh, so I can be considered a Hashira already. If you can be considered a Hashira, then fine. I'll be your ally because, my older brother's a Hashira and I want to see him again. So they're already a trio. Well, a group. With that, they go on. They head to Orokudaki's mountain. First, they get Nichiren blades. And on Orokudaki's mountain, they train. And actually does allow Genyan to get the ability to be strong to cut off a demon's head. And they also learn at least one or two forms of water breathing. So yeah. With Tanjiro, she teaches Zenitsu one technique of explosive breathing. Tanjiro actually can bring a meaning to explosive breathing. Also, let's go to the time learn how to use her blood demon art. So yeah. Tanjiro brings a meaning to explosive breathing. But then with Zenitsu, with his lightning breathing combined with one of the forms of explosive breathing, now Zenitsu can use real explosive breathing. So with that, what Tanjiro basically does is teach Zenitsu in the forms which it relies on brute strength, but brute strength, but also extreme precision. Like just brute strength, but it has to be very, very precise brute strength. So yeah. And well, Zenitsu would learn first form, which is basically just I think of a technique name. Pause real quick. So Tanjiro would teach Zenitsu the strongest technique he knows of explosive breathing. Well, not knows, the strongest one he invented being, well, Shirashu. Which is a bit short for like the Fat Man or Fat Slash, which is one of the bombs. It's the name of a nuke, basically. Fat Man is the name of a nuke, and I translated it to, Fat Slash, and then, yeah, so, Surushu is the name of the attack. Zenitsu would use it with his first form. She doesn't give Zenitsu enough courage to actually use it, but when he's awake and uses it, it's not as potent, so, yeah. Eventually we just see Tanjiro, who goes on, and eventually they meet. Well, not first they meet, but they go on to do missions. Like, they get their own missions, but Tanjiro would go into the, village first. And, well, actually, when he arrives there a lot faster, well, he actually saves the guy who's about to have his girlfriend abducted. Like, he arrives there, she's about to be pulled on the ground, but he just pulls her away from the demon and just grabs the demon and throws him in the air. Quickly, he's able to slash him in pieces, killing the first body, leaving only 2 left. People thank them, and he says he's no worries, he's a demon slayer, they should run. So they run off, and Tanjiro proceeds to basically just fight these other 2 bodies. And Nezuko is with him. Eventually, she wraps up one demon, he breaks her hand enough, or her hand enough actually have blood spray everywhere. Once the demon just blows up, leaving it open for attack, and Tanjiro kills it. So, yeah. Now they kill the demons, and we go on to see, Zenitsu meets Inosuke. And Zenitsu says she isn't too scared of Inosuke, saying that Tanjiro is sometimes scarier than him when Tanjiro's angry. And Tanjiro had just arrived as Zenitsu and Inosuke were fighting. In the hand-to-hand combat, Inosuke had the advantage. In terms of speed and technique, it went to Zenitsu. But strength and it's mainly strength went to Inosuke. Strength and flexibility and stamina went to Inosuke. Where Inosuke pulled out a sword about to slash Zenitsu, but Tanjiro blocked the attack with his own skin, saying there's no need to do all that. And this led to Inosuke asking who Tanjiro is, and Tanjiro says he's a demon slayer. Tanjiro's strength is actually given a pretty high rank, so I'm going to go over what rank that would be. So Tanjiro's strength is considered a Kino level, Kinoe level, because, pretty sure Kana reported back to Shinobu about meeting Tanjiro. She should consider Tanjiro on the level of Shinobu. Shinobu reports that to, Utakata, and Utakata's like, alright, then we'll give him a high rank. So, yeah. And Zenitsu, when Inosuke thought rank of Tanjiro, oh, so you're the highest rank. Fight me then, and I'll guarantee I'll beat you and take your jacket. Well, that Zenitsu had watched Inosuke rush at Tanjiro. Tanjiro beat the absolute, I'm sure he beat the dog out of Inosuke, with no effort. Usually Inosuke is just, being held in the air by his neck and just has blood coming out of his mouth. But Tanjiro throws him to the side and says that there's a demon in the building. 3 of them. This scares Zenitsu a bit, but Tanjiro says that there's one of them in there that he actually feels sad for, because Tanjiro does feel the presence of Kyogai. You can get a faint memory of Kyogai. Tanjiro says that Kyogai is a sad spirit and should be set free from this miserable plane of existence. Tanjiro does basically just dash inside as fast as possible, right to where Kyogai is, and landed right in front of him. Kyogai can tell that Tanjiro's a demon, but he's wearing a demon slayer jacket. So Kyogai asks Tanjiro, you're a demon, why are you demon slayer clothes? Tanjiro believes he's only half demon, and that there's no need for him to, be concerned with that. Tanjiro's here to set Kyogai free from what the place he deems a miserable plane of existence. Tanjiro reveals he has a bit of Muzan's memories from absorbing some of Muzan's blood from another demon, and says that, he has memories of Kyogai, and that Kyogai should be set free and not work under just this extreme, but fight under this extreme stress and anguish. Tanjiro's able to touch a lot of feelings in Kyogai. Kyogai eventually offers up his life to Tanjiro. Tanjiro pulls out his sword, stab it into the chest of Kyogai, and absorb him through the sword. We see Inosuke and Zenitsu basically just slamming 2 demons around with Nezuko, just wrapping them in blood. not wrapping them, like covering them in blood. And Kyogai then says, just make sure they don't hurt my house. And trust that they're thrown outside by Nezuko, and then they blow up because of her blood art. So yeah. Zenitsu and Inosuke kind of like high five, and Zenitsu's kind of fawning over Nezuko, but Tanjiro was like, no, that's something you will not be doing about my sister. You will not be doing that. So yeah. Now with this, we move on, and the next arc would probably be like, I guess them at like that hotel place, but they kind of like stay there for like a bit. While they're there, they're suddenly met by like someone at the door, being Shinobu, Kane, Sanemi, and Genya. These 4 people there. So Kana, Shinobu, Genya, and Sanemi. Well, Sanemi actually asked if Tanjiro's truly in level of Shinobu, and Tanjiro actually asked who they are, and that's like Sanemi's like, we're Hashira. I'm 1 pillar, she's insect pillar. My brother is Genya, and Shinobu's sister is Kanao. Like, okay, cool, nice to meet you. That's Inosuke, that's Nezuko, that's Zenitsu. We go outside, not to have a duel, just like Tanjiro and Shinobu. So Shinobu would rush at Tanjiro, trying to cut him a bit, just poison him. Like they're given permission to kill him because he's a demon, but like in the fight, if he seems to be too weak, you can kill him. But like, just be careful. Because it's Tanjiro's skin, or she thinks she turns around saying there's no cut on his body at all. Tanjiro should be in like kind of increasing in strength. They think like his veins bulging and his body gets a bit bigger. So Tanjiro had absorbed Kyogai, and then suddenly Tanjiro had kind of smacked his shoulder, I'd say. When he smacked it, well, suddenly the effect of it is basically Tanjiro's flesh kind of touched Shinobu, and now he can kind of control his flesh. The flesh has to be disconnected from his body. And his shoulders, well, isn't Shinobu right into the air, and she's really high in the air. Well, suddenly she realizes that she's about to fall. Well, a strong knee lands into her gut, making her throw up a bit. And she hits the ground. Tanjiro caught her, and says that he's probably above Hashira now with the demon he just absorbed. Then he asks what level the demon was, and Tanjiro says, an X-Lore moon. Tanjiro actually tells Sanemi that if he's correct, even before he became a demon slayer, or even before he met Urokodaki, he may have been comparable to a lower moon. And that currently he may be on level of at least the 5th or 4th upper moon. So yeah, he's not wrong. I'd probably consider him possibly around, like, pretty sure it's Gyoko, who's the 5th upper moon. Yeah, he's around the level of Gyoko, possibly full power Hatengu. So yeah. So he's around like full power Hatengu, maybe Gyoko, possibly full power Hatengu. And Tanjiro she does she just talks to Sanemi for a bit, and just says that the ability he just used was the ability of Kyogai. Also has the ability of a few other demons, but they're not really too impressive. He says if he uses all the abilities in tandem, he may be on the level of at least the 4th upper moon for sure. Currently, it's unknown, but full power Tanjiro most definitely on the level of Hatengu. Sanemi wants to fight full power Tanjiro, and they fight. And the fight ends up with Tanjiro basically covered in blood and panting. Like he had to use like the limb growth, the explosive impact, everything. Even combined water breathing and explosive breathing, even using Breath of the Sun one time. And Sanemi still won, but Sanemi's like panting, covered in sweat and blood. Like he's just amazed that Tanjiro was this strong, but he's not bleeding a lot. Tanjiro's like just covered in blood, about to die. Tanjiro smirks, saying Sanemi he's a good opponent, and Sanemi tells Tanjiro he's good as well. Sanemi's arms and like a bit of his chest is bleeding the most, but Tanjiro's whole body is like drenched in blood. For this, Tanjiro is invited to join the Hashira. Well, first they have to go to Utakata. The Utakata invites Tanjiro to the Hashira. Tanjiro agrees to join the Hashira. So yeah. So basically, he's known as he can be the new water pillar because he isn't really the water pillar. He quit after a few days, I believe. So Tanjiro can be considered the new water pillar. But Tanjiro encourages Gi to step up because Tanjiro wants to be the new pillar. He wants to be the 10th Hashira. And Gi's like, alright then, fine. Well, what pillar are you going to be? Tanjiro says he'll be the explosive pillar. Or the explosion pillar. So with that, during the time that they need to travel to the forest, Spider Forest, Tanjiro gets his own estate set up. kind of known as the explosive state, the explosion state, or the nuclear state. That's kind of what it's called. So Tanjiro's like kind of the headmaster there, and he even fought Rengoku for a bit, and him and Rengoku got along extremely well. Tanjiro gets along with everyone, especially Gyome, shockingly. The only person there doesn't seem to like Tanjiro is possibly Iguro and Muichiro. Iguro, due to the fact that Tanjiro's very nice, and him and Mitsuki get along pretty well. So yeah. So people say that Tanjiro's estate are just going to be Inosuke and Zenitsu and Nezuko. That's really it. Well, you have Sanemi and Genya, who are kind of in the same place. Kanao and Shinobu. Yeah. Well, this when the show about Spider Force thing, Tanjiro says he wants to do it just as his power to make sure he's on the level of a lower moon. Rui is strong or decently strong compared to a lower ranked. It's he's like an average ranked Demon Slayer could possibly defeat Rui or match him, like a middle ranked Demon Slayer. But Tanjiro's ranked, people around his rank could for sure compare to a lower moon or defeat them. Tanjiro would go on the mission, but only with Genya, because Genya is like the weakest one out of the Kamaboko trio. So not trio, but Kamaboko group. One of the weakest ones being Sanemi. So not Sanemi, I mean Genya. Tanjiro and Genya go on the mission, and Genya has to fight the Father Demon. Genya fights him. Tanjiro says he's not even worthy of a lower moon title. You have to beat him. So this Genya and the Father Spider wrestle. Eventually, we see Genya overwhelm it. It was just his skin was too tough to cut through. Not Tanjiro, because Genya didn't have like a sword. He had more like a wakizashi. So it's not as durable. And Tanjiro understood that. Was like, yeah, if you had a sword, you would have beaten it. What Tanjiro does is just kill it himself. No, he didn't absorb it. And they go into the forest with Genya actually fighting the whole spider family. And the only people that actually defeat him would probably be the spider brother himself and Rui. Genya had basically fought the actual spider to a standstill, but Tanjiro kind of grabbed it and absorbed it, saying it was too weak to even have an influence on Tanjiro. She allowed Tanjiro to infect people with his own demon blood and turn them into, well, kind of like demonic pets. Not on what Muzan or Doma does, but more like... So if you were to give Genya some of his own blood, he can kind of turn Genya into like a... I'll say like it's like a hawk. Like kind of like a demonic hawk. But it has the head of Genya. Or it can't have the head of Genya, but he wouldn't do that. Once Genya fights Rui, he doesn't win, but Rui deems Genya really strong. Tanjiro just cuts through all everything that Rui throws at him, and Rui asks who Tanjiro is, and Tanjiro says he's the newest Hashira. Rui uses that and almost shits bricks, but Tanjiro grabs Rui and absorbs him, saying that Rui is too kind-hearted to actually have a bad influence on him. So that Tanjiro would leave with Genya, and yeah. Now with this, Tanjiro and Genya head back. While they're there, Sanemi asks how Genya did, and Tanjiro says that Genya is pretty close to reaching like a lower moon level, but still not there yet. Sanemi kept on training Genya, and yeah. But Tanjiro estimates that possibly Zenitsu, while awake, could have compared to Rui in power, same as Inosuke, and Kanao could have for sure defeated Rui. So yeah. Next arc that'd be important would probably be Mugen Train. So yeah. For this mission, it's Tanjiro and Rengoku only these two. Well, and Nezuko, since she's a given to come along. So yeah. So Nezuko, Tanjiro, and Rengoku. Because well, actually, a few different people were on missions. The ones that were on different missions were actually Genya, Zenitsu, and Inosuke. And Muichiro came along for the hell of it. These guys are actually going to handle the Swordsman's Village arc. Because there's no Atengu or Gyoko there. Gyoko was there at all. Possibly he was, but yeah. Because they had like a few miscellaneous like lower moons that weren't there yet. Because Hashira move out, prove your worth, and yeah. So with this, we more or less see them fight these lower moons. And Genya being a bit stronger is able to defeat one of the lower moons who's comparable to Rui. But Genya fought them to a standstill. The only reason Genya won is due to they get higher stamina and kill the demon like that. So yeah. Zenitsu and Inosuke are a bit stronger as well, but they defeat a lot of these themselves. After like running through like 3 or 4 of them, they get tired, and then we have Muicho who just defeats them all with no effort. So yeah. On this mission, we'll Muzan had heard about Tanjiro and Rengoku and Nezuko going, so actually he doesn't send out Akaza yet. He sends out Enmu, sends out Kaigaku, who I assume probably not Kaigaku just yet, but he'll send out Enmu, Hatengu, and Gyoko. So 1 lower moon, 2 upper moons. So yeah, the 4th and 5th upper moon and the 1st lower moon. So with this, Tanjiro now has the ability to use Rui's strings. It's just they're explosive now. So with this, we see Tanjiro and Goku on the mission. Eventually, they pass out and go to sleep. Nezuko's the one to wake them up, but the one they're not tied up. Like someone would go into their dreams. One of the kids goes into Tanjiro's dream, sees it as a very serene place, but Tanjiro doesn't know this is the effect of a blood demon art. Tanjiro kind of reverses it since the blood demon art is so weak compared to him, to the point where the water turns boiling, and the kid's being boiled alive till you leave, and Tanjiro's like this awake staring at him, saying, "You really think that I'd fall asleep that easily, just fall prey to some weak demon art?" Tanjiro just punches the kid in the gut, knocking him out, and sees Rengoku doing the same thing. With this, we see like I don't think it's conducted by the guy to collect tickets to make sure. He rushes at Tanjiro and Tanjiro bringing Rengoku with knives, but Nezuko stops him with a simple kick to the face, and she just laughs at him, saying that was so weak. Well, a few demons are there. They run through the demons. They get to the top, and they find Enmu. But they also find Gyoko and Hatengu, and Tanjiro insists on Nezuko fighting Enmu. Him and Inosuke will fight these upper moons. No, Inosuke, I mean, him and Rengoku fight the upper moons. Rengoku will smirk, saying which one do you want? Tanjiro points out Hatengu, saying he's the strongest one, and possibly the only that Tanjiro can compare to in ability. But Tanjiro also says that few people offer to make sacrifices to him. Suddenly, multiple giant hawks appear, and their heads are going from what looks like a hawk to what also looks like a human. Usually the kids that went into the dreams, and Tanjiro actually said, like, what do you guys prefer right now? Beating Enmu or dying? They're like, we'd want him to be beaten, but we also want to die because our families are dead. They're like, alright then, I'll offer you both. We turns them both not both, but all of them into, like, these hawk human hybrids that are demons. And, Tanjiro would fight Hatengu making all these clones of emotion. And, not clones, but copies of emotion that are, living beings. And all the hawks fight them. Tanjiro fight the main body of Hatengu, the main body, or the strongest body of Hatengu, and defeat that body, leaving the hawks to defeat the other bodies. When Tanjiro would kill the main Hatengu, we see Rengoku fight Gyoko and win, but he's a bit injured, as his arm is on the verge of falling off. Tanjiro said, holds it on as he grabs, a first aid kit, being able to stitch it back on, so. Not stitch it back on perfectly, but decently. Tanjiro offers to turn him into a demon until he heals, but I already knows Rengoku's going to say no, and Rengoku does. Due to Tanjiro being half demon, he isn't completely immortal, but he can live up to, a few, at most, he can live up to 500 years old at the oldest. That's about it. His human life kind of slowed him down a bit, so, yeah. But he's going to be around long enough to know his great-grandkids. Great-grandkids, so, yeah. We go on, the mission ended, and as they're about to leave the train, at the stop, they meet Akaza. They fight Akaza, and, these two combined, plus Nezuko, who defeated Enmu herself by, Tanjiro gave Nezuko the ability of Rui, because he didn't really want it anymore. Not that he didn't want it, actually, he just didn't need it. Because his own flesh can do the whole web thing, just be a lot harder to do. So he gave it to Nezuko, and, she did it on Enmu, and kind of blew up his neck. Also, kind of made a sort of webs for the potion didn't kill him, and just kind of used that to slice off his head normally, using one technique of water breathing. She didn't also use explosive breathing as good as Tanjiro can. It's just she isn't as strong or fast as him. So yeah. With that, they defeated their own moons. Nezuko is now confirmed to be on level Upper Moon 1. Tanjiro and Inosuke, they're now estimated to be around Upper Moon 4 and 5. So yeah. Inosuke is brought back to the base of Hashira after they fight Akaza. Tanjiro did most of the fighting with his hawks, as Inosuke was tasked. And then Goku was tasked with escaping by him, and then Nezuko helped him get away. Tanjiro fought Akaza and had lost horribly, but he isn't dead. And Akaza tried to turn him into a demon while he's asleep, but he's already a demon, so it didn't work. But Tanjiro did tear off the arm of Akaza, then eat it. When he ate it, well, he didn't get any abilities, but got a bit of a memory from Akaza. Akaza got back, his arm had regenerated, but Tanjiro just told Akaza to scram. And as Akaza was running away, Tanjiro had said one thing, and Akaza, what he heard was, "They're waiting for you when you die." It made Akaza turn around, but Tanjiro had already left. So, yeah. Goku's given, kind of put, near the with the nearest demon slayers that are able to be medics, and they stitch his arm back on decently, at least. They go back to the base. They see Tanjiro arrive there last. They shoved him into bruises and a bit of blood, but it heals as he says, "I'm fine." So, he says that, they heal. And he kind of sits down, and then, well, he asks about, everyone else, and again, he was like, "I finally defeated the lower moon." Then to Inosuke, we're like, we defeated multiple lower moons. And Michiru's like, I defeated, someone, I guess I defeated the first lower moon. Like, alright, good job. So, yeah. Now, this we move on to the next arc, being the Entertainment District arc. But the thing is, there will be no Swordsman Village arc at all, I think so. Even if there was, no strong demons would attack the point where it's not even a notable arc anymore. Gyoko and Hatengo are dead. Muitra got a bit stronger, actually. So for the Entertainment District, once I go, it's not Tanjiro. Instead, he actually set out to kind of investigate and find out where Muzan would be. But it's the Tamari Ball demon. Well, Tanjiro didn't encounter them, and kind of just wandering through a town and had encountered Muzan there still. Wanted Muzan to stare down, but then Muzan had left. And Tanjiro had found the doctor and her assistant that time. So there was no Tamari Ball demon because it was already obvious Tanjiro would obliterate her in seconds. So yeah, there was no demons after them. Even if there was, it would be the third, it'd be Akaza, Doma, or Kokushibo himself. One of those three. That's about it. Because that's all that's left besides Kaigaku, and Kaigaku is for sure not gonna stop Tanjiro. So yeah. So Tanjiro encourages the demons to come to the camp, but in response, he'll give them, his blood, which will give them some immunity to the sun. And also a bit of Muzan's blood and Kokushibo's blood. But then again, they'll still be immune to the sun, and their head could possibly regenerate. So, yeah. They take this, and they can't regenerate their heads at all, but they have an immunity to the sun for up to 4 hours. So, they're cool. So, I'm going to pause real quick. So Tamayo and Yishiro are in the camp with all the Hashira, and Tamayo actually teaches Shinobu a few things about poison, and actually how to get to Doma a bit. So yeah. While Yishiro will actually teach some of the demon slayers, he trains them a bit, seeing into different, not realms, but enhancing their eyesight a bit. As they train with this, Tanjiro's already able to see the eye demon, guy demon with the eyes in his hands. Tanjiro can already see the arrows. He can see just a bit of training with Gyomei, I'm pretty sure, for at least a month, and training like Gyomei does, could possibly give him access to the see-through world. And with Kokushibo's DNA, probably not. So, he doesn't need to train Gyomei at all. He needs to just train in swordsmanship and probably see the see-through world. But a bit of time passes to the point where they have to Entertainment District is going to start. The ones that go on the mission are actually, not Tanjiro. Instead, it is Genya, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, who are a lot stronger. We see Tengen go, and Tengen's a bit stronger. And Tengen Tanjiro kind of taught all the Hashira the basics of explosion breathing, saying it's very beneficial to actually hold off a demon. No matter who they are, if they're hit by one thing of explosive breathing, they're going to be sent flying back, and they're going to say pause for a second. Because even Shakta Tengu and Rengoku admitted that, Gyoko was in shock for a few seconds when it hit him. I didn't even hit him in the neck, I hit him in the arm, he was just still in shock. It was just so powerful. So Tengen would fight, and the only thing he lost was actually just, his one hand. His eyes are fine. So, yeah. We have Zenitsu, who defeated... Well, actually, no, he wouldn't defeat Yutaro, but... we would see we see Genya and Inosuke combined are able to kill Daki pretty easy, not kill but defeat her pretty easily. Then when the three and Tengen combined fight against Yutaro, they win, but well, Tengen lost one hand because he wasn't careful enough. Well, Tanjiro was kind of doing reconnaissance, met everyone else, so the same thing, everyone up, everything happened. Then we go on to see Tanjiro, who actually would do one very fatal thing. Try to get close to the Infinity Castle. Try to get close to it, and it's met by dozens of demons that are on level of lower moons. Encounters him, he defeats most of them. Only the only ones that are left are like a few miscellaneous ones, and Tanjiro's at this point where like his clothes are basically gone besides his pants. Like, his body all scratched up and everything. Someone walks out being Kokushibo. He dashed at Tanjiro, and Tanjiro and him begin fighting. In the little fight, Tanjiro actually being able to actually use a bit of Breath of the Moon without realizing it. We're shocked Kokushibo. Looking closer at Tanjiro, realizes that Tanjiro is, well, that man's son. So it's not Tanjiro's like, not Tanjiro, but Kokushibo like, oh, so you're able to use my Breath of the Sun, you have a bit of my memories. Like, nope, I have none of them, but we'll have a bit of your DNA, which gives me some access to how your body would work. Now, the fight Tanjiro just awaken this transparent world, see-through world. It'll actually cut off one of Kokushibo's arms, and Kokushibo's like, well, that's impressive, but I'm just gonna kill you now. Well, Tanjiro would do one technique that he had learned, well, not he had learned, but not invented at all. Actually, I'd say he learned. He combines the first form of all the sorts of techniques he uses, and would go right for Kokushibo's neck. It's like the first form of water breathing, first form of explosion breathing, and first form of moon breathing. And we'll dance to the fire god. As he hits like he cuts through Kokushibo's sword and hit Kokushibo in the neck with it. It got deep into the neck, but didn't cut it off or cut his head off. Kokushibo stepped back, holding his neck, coughing a bit, saying, "Damn, you're strong, kid." But that technique may feel Akaza or like Doma, but not me. Tanjiro says like, fine, I'm leaving, I'll come back and kill Kokushibo for sure. Kokushibo being cocky had said, alright, then leave. So Tanjiro left, and he leaves killing the last demon that was on level of a lower moon. As he's leaving, well, there's still sundown, and he's kind of near the Hashira area. While he's about to go inside, he sees a demon appear in front of him, being Kaigaku. Kaigaku says that he's not a student, but kind of like someone who trained with Zenitsu. And says it's easier to kill Zenitsu. Well, first Tanjiro, because he trained Zenitsu. But you want to see how strong Tanjiro is. He dashes Tanjiro, but Tanjiro just absorbs him completely. Or it's about to, but he spits him out, saying, "It's Zenitsu's job to kill him, not Tanjiro." So he kicks Kaigaku away and goes inside, leaving him there. So, fast forward a bit, Swords of the Village arc happens. Only important person there would actually be, well, Zenitsu again. And, well, Zenitsu's the only one there. The person that arrives is Kaigaku, and Zenitsu kills him with little to no effort. According to Zenitsu, he's on level of Upper Moon now. But now eventually they have to go on to the Infinity Castle arc. For the Infinity Castle, well, Tanjiro should begin using all of his abilities to their full capacity, and being able to combine every form of breathing, of like sun breathing, moon breathing, and water breathing, and explosive breathing. Combine small. There's this first form. I'll combine that second form, like all the first forms of this. Second form. I'll combine the second forms with this. Like, combine them all. And he calls this the ultimate breathing, because the strongest forms of breathing all combined into one technique. But with this we go on, and we just see Tanjiro eventually, well, in power, he's a bit stronger than Gyomei now. He's currently the strongest Hashira to ever live. Actually, no, probably not the strongest Hashira, because I assume that possibly Kokushibo and Yoriichi would have been Hashira. So yeah. Well, also other difference there is, well, every Hashira is a lot more powerful than canon, including Rengoku. That is a complete match for Akaza, like completely matching him in power and everything. Then we have Shinobu, who trained with her speed, technique, and her poison a lot, like a lot more poisonous. That if she were to use her poison to its full ability and push her body to the physical limit, even without a Demon Slayer mark, she would kill Doma. So currently Shinobu with that is the strongest Hashira. well, not the strongest Hashira, but she'd kill Doma. Without her Demon Slayer mark, then awakening it, she'd kill Doma pretty easily. So, yeah. But Tanjiro, who already kind of had it awakened, he awakened it in fight with Kokushibo. Was just he didn't know how to use the power properly, so he didn't die, but Kokushibo didn't die either. So yeah, well, this will go on. You just see everyone go on to fight against I guess the same opponents. It was just there's either quadruple the amount of demons comparable to lower moons, but yeah. So Rengoku and Giyu combined to fight against Akaza, and they're able to kill him, and none of them awakened Demon Slayer mark. But Rengoku and Giyu both awakened their bright red Nitra and Blade. Then Kanao, Shinobu, and Inosuke combined are able to defeat Doma, and none of them awakened their Demon Slayer mark, and none of them are severely injured. So yeah. Then Kaigaku fights Zenitsu, and Zenitsu killed him with little. Actually, no, he already killed Kaigaku. Never mind. But instead, he actually kills around 15 to 20 demons who are comparable to lower moons single-handedly, and is barely even damaged by that. So yeah. But eventually, after they'll defeat their moons and their lower moons, I guess they're all face to face with Kokushibo and Muzan. Tanjiro and Mucho agree to fight against Kokushibo as a group, as a duo, and Igor says that he'll fight him as well. And then everyone else is tasked to fight against Muzan to hold him off a bit. Without Tanjiro begins fighting Kokushibo alongside Mucho and Igoro, and these three as a trio are able to kill him. Well, kind of like as he's about to die, before they cut off his head, Tanjiro does is kind of control his flesh and his fingertips, and not fingertips actually, kind of grow multiple arms and wrap them all around Kokushibo, absorbing him completely. Even Tanjiro a bit bigger, almost the size of Giyu, not Giyu, I mean, almost the size of Tengen, almost that size. But with the full body of Kokushibo absorbed, and now having his demon art and full access to moon breathing, and all those memories almost 500 years ago, his access to sun breathing. Every technique that Yoriji had used, that Kokushibo had witnessed, Tanjiro can use it all. So now Tanjiro had actually fully reached the level of, Yoriichi. He had actually surpassed that. He's actually at that exact same level as Yoriichi. But we have Kokushibo dead, and then Tanjiro just goes on to approach. He goes on to approach fucking Muzan. Tanjiro and Muzan fights. Muzan had defeated everyone, defeated everyone, but still Tanjiro had to wait to get used to his abilities before fighting. But Tanjiro using all his abilities at full scale, using water breathing, water wheel, explosive breathing, Surashi. Then we have sun breathing, days of the fire god. Whatever other breathing forms you want to bring up, Tanjiro can use them all. Not all the breathing forms, but can use a lot of them. But when eventually Tanjiro at full power, even suppressing Yoriichi a bit, had killed Muzan. Well, since Muzan's body has disappeared, Tanjiro had absorbed it all. Now Tanjiro becoming the strongest demon ever. So what Tanjiro does actually kind of had his own blood demon art now. He can create his own blood demon art. It's actually been the benefit of his friends. It was healing. Tanjiro kind of poured blood all over the most serious wounds, and the blood basically began sewing their bodies back together, completely healing them all. When Goku actually kind of like a pretty deep, like not stab wound, but it's stab wound actually, like 4 fingers entered his body, like his chest from Muzan, but they didn't kill him yet. He's just bleeding a lot, so yeah, that's healed. That's healed. And eventually they all leave Trinity Castle. No one dead. Worst injury being Gyomei, and Gyomei had lost an arm, like a whole arm. Tengen may have lost one hand, sure. Gyomei lost his whole arm, and then no one cares, but his eye is damaged, and he's already blind, so it doesn't matter. All it did was scramble his ability to see the transparent world for like 10 minutes. So yeah. Now this Demon Slayer Corps is disbanded, and now they all live peaceful lives. Tanjiro lives on to see his grandkids. Well, actually no, lives on to see more than his grandkids. Actually, he's gonna outlive them. But Tanjiro kind of like just changes his identity once every few years. So yeah, I don't think he's on record. So it doesn't really matter. With this, we go on. Well, there's still a lot of demons left, actually. Actually, not a lot of them, but actually, no, there's a lot of them because Tanjiro absorbed a few of them. So yeah. The person that lived alongside Tanjiro the longest was not Kana. Actually, it was Genya. Genya lived on Tanjiro as Genya had turned 160, and then that's when Genya died. Tanjiro is how many times grandkids are around in 2021? I'll do some subtraction real quick. So Genya does live the longest alongside Tanjiro, and basically will outlive their grandkids. So yeah, it was just Genya didn't really have any. So yeah, he was like a close family from Tanjiro. But it's not like Tanjiro's grandkids are around. He's 90, so he's in his 90s. So same as Genya. It was just Genya looked like he was in his 40s, not 90s. So yeah. But they lived like the late 20. Well, Genya lives like the 2100s. Well, Tanjiro, who lives beyond that, like the 2500s. But yeah, no one knew him and Genya were alive past the year 1960. No one knew they were alive. So yeah, besides like ex-demons that are core in their families. Yep, past the year 1960, no one knew Tanjiro and Genya were alive unless they were close friends or family. But this would end this what if. It's enjoyed. No one awakened the Demon Slayer mark besides I'd say possibly Muichiro, possibly just him. But yeah, none of them died young. They all live a good ripe ages, like their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, goodbye.